Hello there, how are you? Welcome back to How I Did It. Well, I know how much we all love to watch somebody else paint, and we absolutely just love to watch paint dry. So I thought while we were doing that together, I would answer some of the questions that I've received about the systems on the off-grid barn. I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. Why did I go with a 12-volt system on the inside of the barn? And it's actually quite simple. I wanted to be able to go to the store and buy a light fixture, bring it back out here to the off-grid barn, wire that light fixture for 12 volts, and then put a 12-volt bulb in it and be done. I wanted it to be as close to flip a switch, have the light come on, flip a switch, have the light go off as possible. Now, had I chosen to go with 110 and a big inverter and a whole bunch of solar panels, the problem that I ran into, granted it would have been more efficient, but the problem that I ran into was I had to have a bunch of expensive electronic equipment to convert that solar 48 volt power to 110 volts. And by me simply having it come in off of a 12 volt solar panel, it can actually directly feed into a 12 volt fuse box and actually run 12 volt lights, 12 volt fans, 12 volt appliances, and so on. So that was the logic behind it. Is it as efficient in the broad spectrum of it all? No. But I am not running the off-grid barn like most people run their homes where, oh, I have an unlimited power source and I'm just going to run all these 110 and 220 type of appliances. I set this up to totally be conservative in mind as far as utilizing different infrastructure utilities. There we go. And the primary, utility starting right off with is the power. Now, I do have 110 appliances in here. My fridge is still 110, my freezer is 110, my television is 110. But all of my lights, my ceiling fans, the wall outlets, they have 110 outlets right next to 12 volt outlets. So when you're charging your phone, you plug it into the 12 volt outlet. You don't even use the 110 outlet. It's there if for some reason it's needed, but the primary focus is going to that USB 12 volt outlet. Again, no inverter is needed to step the power to 12 volts because all of my batteries are 12 volt batteries. Now that's where the research comes in. Do your due diligence. I opted to go with a 12 volt battery without a battery management system in it. Again, limiting the electronics because like back in the 1800s, I'll use this for an example. Back in the late 1800s, the telegraph basically almost disintegrated because we had a huge solar flare hit. And that had no electronics in it whatsoever. If we had a solar flare hit today with all of our electronics, televisions, phones, inverters for solar systems, we would be back to the Stone Age. Well, y'all would be back to the Stone Age. I wouldn't be back to the Stone Age because I'm running my system off a simple 12 volt system, including my batteries. Now, they're lithium ion batteries, which it could affect. But the beauty of it is, because it's a 12 volt system, I can go out to my 87 Toyota, I can take out the lead acid battery, or I can take my lead acid batteries that I kept from the initial 12 volt system that I set up. I can plug everything into that and they would still function. Now my 110 refrigerator, my freezer and stuff would not function, but the other 12 volt utilities would function. With that being said, I'm going to move up to the next question, which is dealing with my water system. Do I have a deep well? And why on my filtration system did I not put in a UV light purification component? The deep well, no. We've had a couple of major issues, spills that have contaminated groundwater here in Florida. Water lines, water main break if you're on the grid, or what do you call it, local utility systems. So I just wanted to avoid all that altogether, and that's where having the water collection come from rainwater above. It comes down in through a gravity system fed by a 12-volt pump, and even the relay on the pump is no longer on the pump. It's a mechanical relay that I purchased off the shelf at the big box store. So once again, limiting the dependence on things that are electronic based and going back to more of a mechanical base. So the water comes off the roof into the cistern, comes into the water collection or the water filtration area through mechanical filters or the cartridge type filters, but no UV light. And again, the UV light, if we did have a solar flare, it's just another component that would become a giant paperweight. Or say the solar flare hit, that UV light is 112 volts or 120 volts, and my system is 12-volt system, so it would not function if I lost my inverter. But by having the cartridges in there to do the filtration system, again, it's more of a mechanical system. It's a little bit more foolproof. It's been working effectively for the last 3 years or so. And a little fun fact, when I go into town to visit my son, I actually have to take water with me to make my coffee and to water the dogs because none of us like the water coming out of the faucet in town anymore. So that's just kind of our preference, I guess you would say, for the water purification. I know a lot of people want that UV purification, and that's fine. That's just not my choice. I wanted to go more mechanical. All right, showers. Let's talk hot showers. Now, the choice was electric hot water heater or propane. Now, granted, I could do the black bag outside and all that, but no, I'm not going that primitive. I will if I have to, but no, sorry. I love my on-demand propane hot water heater. It ignites from 2D batteries. It runs off a simple propane. Granted, right now I'm using 20-pound tanks just like you would have on your RV. A lot of people have asked, why have I not brought a large, say, 250-gallon or 500-gallon RV or propane tank onto the property? If I were to do it, I would have to be dependent on somebody else to bring me propane. And we've seen from hurricanes past and storms past, you cannot get a lot of those deliveries of different things when the systems kind of come to a shutdown. Example, look at all the people who had issues after the C word hit. Yeah, I didn't say it out loud. You could not get things like that delivered because everybody was not working. Now, you could go to the big box store because they had permission to be open, and you could get your 20-pound canister for your grill from the big box store. But to actually, especially initially, later on it was a little bit different. Things changed up. But we're talking about that initial hurricane, solar flare, pandemic, whatever. When the system's initially down, you need to make sure that you can pick the certain item up yourself. And that's where this 20-pound propane tank comes into play. It operates my stove in my RV, it operates the stove or the grill, it operates the hot water heater, it operates the stove on the inside of the off-grid barn. It's just basically one-stop shopping for all of the appliances across the board. Granted, that big propane tank would be nice, but I don't know about anybody else. I don't have about $5 grand sitting around to go buy a new tank and have it filled up. But I can sure afford to go to Facebook Marketplace and find somebody's throwing it out for $10 tank, take it, swap it out at one of the big box stores, and then I can at any time take that tank back to Tractor Supply and have it topped off, take it up to Costco, have it topped off there, and I'm a fat old woman. I can lift this 20-pound tank. I'm no fool. I know my limitations are coming. So you kind of have to plan for convenience and ease now, but you also have to plan for the convenience and ease as you get older. And say you can't get it filled, there are enough propane tanks and stuff laying around when you go out searching for resources that then you can purchase or get that propane tank and bring it home and hook it up to whatever you need and have a hot meal or have a hot shower or whatever. So, like I said, it's again, these systems are my personal preference. They may not be yours. These systems function really well. Why did I bring grid power onto the property? Well, kind of the old adage of two is one and one is none. So I had wind, I had solar, I had a generator, but having the grid power just added one more component to kind of make the ease of use and of life. So while the barn is off grid, I do have the power brought up here that I can run my mini splits, air conditioning, Florida, hot, air conditioning, almost mandatory. Actually, it is. Oh my gosh. But at night. So we had a period a couple months ago where we didn't have any sun for like 3 or 4 days. And running that mini split at night off of the battery system totally depleted the battery system. So then you got up in the morning and it was showing a dead battery. And now you're waiting for the sun to come up to recharge the batteries. So as much as I love my air conditioning and I love having solar and wind and all that, it is nice having the AC running off of grid power at night. So when I wake up in the morning, my systems are 100% charged. I'm not playing catch up at that point. And I saw a lot of folks that have different systems online, and they were using mini splits and stuff to do their heating and their AC. And number one, they weren't able to get their batteries to charge because it was so cold, or they just ran their batteries so hard that when they woke up in the morning, even though their massive solar arrays were there, their system was not recharged because it totally depleted them overnight. So that is kind of my direction. I opted to go with the grid power. And I have family and friends that bring RVs out here and stay at the off-grid barn. And the nice thing is they can go plug in. Granted, they're all limited to 30 amps, so they have to pick which system they're going to run. They can't run both of their mini split ACs on the roof and their microwave oven and their television, and so they have to conserve, which is nice. Well, it's nice for me because they're learning how to conserve, but it's actually beneficial. Learn how to kind of go back to the days when things were simpler and we were more inclined to be conserving of our resources rather than kind of gluttonous of our resources and just, oh, I'll just turn this light on and leave the room and leave the light burning. So, um, yeah, I'm rambling. Sorry. Anyway, so that is why I opted to go ahead and bring grid power onto the property. The systems really are very simple. If I blow a fuse, whether it be a lightning strike or whatever, I can go to any auto parts store and replace my 12-volt fuse from, a $1.99 fuse off the shelf. Whereas if you have your entire system is based off of an inverter and you have all these massive solar powers or solar panels with the solar system and whatnot in place, and that's all fine and well when everything's working perfectly. But when that major hurricane hits and it blows three-quarters of your solar panels away, and you also had a major lightning strike which blew your inverter, you're completely dead in the water. Your entire system, doesn't matter how efficient the 48 volt system was, your entire system is now dead. Where that's the beauty of my 12 volt system. It's not as efficient, but um, it's almost totally foolproof. Alrighty then. If y'all have any more questions, leave them for me in the comments below, and I'll do another one of these episodes if you like. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day. I'll see you next time. Take care.